my fiance. Were you nervous? A little bit?
A little bit.
You're happy with how it turned out?
Extremely.
Me too. Just could not believe it that I'm a fiance now. Yesterday was seriously one of the best days ever. I'm on cloud 9. We both are. So, oh my God. Hi everyone, I am back and I'm ready to sit down and do a little story time of our engagement just because it was really special and one of the best days of my life. So I just want to explain it all and kind of run through it and share the details, especially because it'll be really great to be able to look back on this video as well. I didn't vlog my trip up to Maine because I just really wanted to soak in the time with my family and then the time that me and Nick spent, you know, for us with the engagement. I just really wanted it to be us and didn't want to have to worry about like filming everything. I did take a few clips which will be shown before I get into this whole story. I just want to start by saying that this has already been like the best time of my life. So grateful for where I'm at and what me and Nick have built together. And now just the excitement of discussing a wedding and the things that we're gonna do in the future. Like, it's just really exciting and a really fun time so far. He did an amazing job. I'm so grateful for all the thought that he put into everything and just how he did things. So today is Friday and it's officially been 1 week since we got engaged. Now I've had this week to really let it soak in and I've settled into everything and I'm ready to share. So my last video on my channel is the vlog of me glowing up and getting ready and packing and everything for my vacation to Maine. And in there I explained what I was doing up in Maine, but essentially Maine is a very special place for both Nick and I. I've grown up my whole life going to my family's cabin that we have up the coast in Maine. We go up there every summer. We have been since my mom was literally pregnant with me, and my parents have been going up long before that, and this place has been in my family. So I grew up always going to Maine. I have a huge love for Maine and the coast, especially in the summer. So Maine is very special for me, and I was up there at our cabin with my family. Nick actually grew up in Maine, so he was born and raised in the Portland area. So he was actually up with all of his brothers visiting their parents to celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary, but also just because he likes to go home, you know, at least once a summer to spend time with his family and just be where he grew up. And it's a really special place for him as well. So, and that's why it's really special that we got engaged in Maine. That's kind of the backstory. So we were both up there in Maine, separate locations, about an hour and 45 minutes apart. I personally didn't think I was really gonna see him. I knew we were driving home together and that I was gonna go through the Portland area to get home. I ended up spending Sunday through Thursday with my parents, and then on Friday morning I went down to Portland because my parents were like, oh, you should go spend a few days with him and his family down there before you guys drive home. And he was like, oh, it'd be nice to see you. So I was like, okay, Friday I will go down there and spend Friday and Saturday before we drove home on Sunday. Me and Nick had talked about getting engaged previously. Honestly, it was talked about that it would be at some point this summer. I think it's a teamwork kind of thing. Like, I would not want to be completely shocked about an engagement. Like, I would want to know it's coming, be mentally prepared, and like have my family on board and everything first. I definitely had an outfit planned and like had my nails done, you know, in case. You know how it is when you're at that stage in a relationship, like you got to be kind of prepared. Nick is a soccer coach, so come August, like he's gonna be booked and busy up until December. So, you know, I figured, when is it gonna happen? Probably July. I'm like sweating right now. So anyway, it's like Thursday night. I'm about to leave to go down to Portland the next morning, and my parents are, you know, encouraging me to look my best. I was like, I need to shower. Our water was not working very well, so they helped me make sure that my hair was nice and clean and that everything was good. And it was funny, like the whole vacation, I remember like helping because we're at the cabin, so there's like a lot to do, right? So I'm like helping with stuff. My parents are like, make sure you don't break a nail, which they usually say, but they were saying it like way more than normal. So I was like, wonder what's going on here. So Friday morning, I packed up my stuff, got ready at the cabin just so I could look good, you know, upon arrival in Portland, since I was gonna see him and his family. I drove down to Portland. I show up there. He's just there with some of his brothers and his mom and dad eating lunch. So they make me some lunch and we're just kind of hanging out. But then he's like, hey, we are actually gonna go spend the evening in Kennebunkport. I got us a hotel down there. Like, we've never spent time in that area, and I've been meaning for us to go there. And I was like, okay, sure. So he, you know, packed an overnight bag. We left for this hotel. And of course, at this point, I'm like, my gears are turning a little bit, because I'm like, I came here to spend, you know, the next couple of days like with you and your family in Portland, but you're like, oh, we're gonna go spend the evening here. It was funny too, because we were about to leave his house, and they have a fridge downstairs in the basement that they keep their seltzer water. I was like, oh, we should grab some seltzer waters for the road. Like, can you go down and grab some? I said that to him, and he was like standing there like with his bag, just standing in the kitchen, like, and he was like, no, you should go get them. And I was like, okay. Right, so I go downstairs, grab the seltzer waters. Turns out it's because he wanted to grab the champagne from the fridge, and he wanted it to be cold like up until we left. So he was like trying to get me out of the room. It's just funny looking back at these like little things, but yeah, I was like, fine, I'll go get the seltzer waters. So he got out the champagne. He got Veuve Clicquot for us, so he got that out of the fridge and put it in his bag while I was downstairs getting our seltzer waters, which we ended up forgetting anyway. I literally left them on the kitchen island, so the whole thing was just kind of funny. We drove from Portland to Kennebunkport, which I had never been there, and it's such a cute little coastal Maine town. We pull up to this hotel. It's like a very historic, old, beautiful hotel in Kennebunkport, like right on the ocean. It's called the Colony Hotel, and it's just very antique, very gorgeous. So I was like, okay, this is nice. So I go in with him to check in. The guy actually that was checking us in was like, do you guys want some complimentary champagne? Like, we give it to everyone when they check in, which just was a coincidence and was really nice. So we were like, sure, yeah. So he filled us both a glass of champagne. Before we even took our stuff out of the car and like went up to our room, we went out back where you can see the ocean and like have that view, and there's all these cute little chairs you can sit in. So we went out there and we're drinking our champagne together. What I'm wearing at this point is a pink Penn State t-shirt, Lululemon Align leggings. Turns out his mom was really funny, and she said that she was really stressed when I showed up wearing that outfit because she didn't know if I was gonna have a chance to change. We were sitting outside just drinking our champagne, wearing, you know, our t-shirts and stuff, but it was really special. I brought my disposable camera with me to Maine, and I have a bunch of pictures actually from, well, the whole trip, but also just specifically like our engagement day and the day after. So I'm just gonna share some of these. This is us sitting in these really cute rocking chairs, drinking our complimentary champagne from the hotel, which was so nice and a really good treat. But yeah, Nick was super nervous. The ocean's right here, so we're just sitting outside the hotel watching the ocean. And this was actually our view from these chairs. And what's interesting is you'll see it's so overcast, right? It was actually calling for rain this day. Nick said he was so stressed about the weather. Rain would have been awful. Overcast still wouldn't have been great, but yeah, so when we showed up to the hotel, it was very overcast because you're right on the coast, and if you've ever been to the Maine coast, it's foggy like 50% of the time. So when we showed up, it was so foggy out back that when you looked out the back, it looked like you were staring like into heaven. Like, it just like went off into pure whiteness, so we couldn't even see the ocean. So yes, we go out, we sit, and we are just sitting there enjoying each other and enjoying the champagne. And it went from this to blue skies, basically. Like, we watched as the fog literally got burned through by the sun, and we watched the fog dissipate, and it actually became like pretty sunny and almost fully blue skies, which was crazy. I mean, it wasn't like bright blue skies, but the fog had lifted. We could actually see the ocean, and with each minute that passed and the brighter it got, like, Nick was looking happier and happier, which was really cute. So I was really happy that the weather ended up working out perfect, how it cleared up at like the exact right time. We finish our complimentary champagne, and he's like, let's go get our stuff into the room and, you know, relax for a second. We can get changed because there's this place I want to take you, and then right after that we're gonna probably go get dinner or drinks or something. So I was like, okay. We went, got our stuff into our room. Our room was so adorable. It was like very old-fashioned, very antique. Did not feel like a hotel room. It felt like we were staying in somebody's home or in like a bed and breakfast. Our room actually looked at the ocean. It was the same view that we had from those chairs, so we kept seeing it lighten up more and more, and it was great. I'm like scoping out like what he's gonna wear, and so he puts on his nice like nicer pants, his nicer shoes, and then he has this like white linen button down. Okay, so he pulls out this shirt to wear. I'm thinking, this seems like, you know, might be a good time to whip out the cute little coastal dress that I have. I pulled this one out and I was like, does this look like good for the occasion? I don't know what we're really doing. And he was like, that's perfect. And this is what I had in mind. It's super like coastal in my opinion, super girly. So this is from Lulu's. I bought it a couple weeks back for vacation, but it is so adorable. And I'm so glad that I was wearing this. It was like perfect. So mind you, this is kind of how I also knew something was going on when it comes to work and like games that he has to be at and things like that. He's very prompt, but just in general life, like he would never normally be checking his watch or, you know, that conscious of the time just in general. But the whole day he was very much like checking his watch every 5 seconds. He was like, okay, we need to leave the hotel by 4:30. We have to get over to where we're going, blah, 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 blah. He's never that just, you know, scheduled out. So I was like, again, interesting. He told me that we were going to Biddeford Pool. It's like 20-ish minutes away from Kennebunkport. So Biddeford Pool is like a very special place for Nick and his family. His grandfather used to have a house there and they would go there and spend like a ton of time every summer. And it's right on the coast. So where we went specifically was just like basically all ocean. So he's like, I've always wanted to share a Biddeford Pool with you. I've always wanted to show you where my grandfather used to live and show you his memorial and the little area that we used to always go. We drive over there and again, he's like looking at his watch. He seems super stressed. I like put my hand on the back of his neck and it was like slick wet, like he was sweating. So we drive through Biddeford and then if you keep going you hit the coastal part of Biddeford, which is Biddeford Pool. I think we passed where his grandfather lived and we kept going because we were headed to East Point. Only go as far as the road will take you and then you have to park and walk through this path. So this part is super funny and I had no idea at the time. A lot of people parallel park along the road before the path that walks you down to East Point. And there was a empty parking space like at the back of the parallel lines. Pull up next to this car so that we can, you know, back into the spot behind it. Turns out the car we pulled up right next to was the photographer that Nick hired and he had no idea because he'd never seen this guy in person or met him before because it was a referral. Nick had never actually like seen him or met him, so we both didn't know that that was literally the photographer. So we walked through this little forest. It goes past a golf course and, you know, some houses and whatever. It's just this little path that leads to this little coastal point. The path is like up here and there's a bench that's his grandfather's memorial bench. So he showed me that. And then there's this ramp that you can walk down and it goes to the rocky beach. Mind you, at this point, like the sky had turned very blue. It was a gorgeous day and Nick just seemed so happy about how the conditions ended up because, you know, you can control that. So we walked down to the rocky little beach area and it's gorgeous. Like we're surrounded by water. There's like an island out in front of us and I'm like, wow, this is picturesque. So I get up on one of the rocks and I start taking pictures with my disposable camera and my regular camera. I just wanted to capture it. It was so gorgeous. And this is actually the picture that I took with my disposable camera. So as you can see, like we were just surrounded with this water everywhere and we were standing on these rocks. It was just a beautiful day. As I'm taking these pictures, Nick is just like waiting behind me on the rock. So I'm not really paying attention to what he's doing. So he's like, oh, are you getting a good picture, babe? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, you know, you can turn around now. And I was like, okay. So I turn around and I see he's just standing there. There was a shell on the rock between us and he was like, pick up that shell. And I was like, okay. So I pick up the shell and he, you know, takes it from me and in it is my ring, which is so cute. He takes out the ring from the shell and he gets down on one knee. He says that he almost got down on the wrong knee. I didn't really realize there was a right or a wrong knee, but he got down on the correct knee and then, you know, held out the ring and said everything. I don't want to say what he said because it's just really like special for us, but you know, he said what he wanted to say. Immediately I was just like, yes, like this is the moment that I've been waiting for, like since the day I met you. So I was so excited and just like, I didn't even know. My brain felt like blank because I was staring at this beautiful ring. I was just like so like in shock that it was just like finally happening and in just such a beautiful place. It was just, I felt like I was floating. Like it was the most special moment ever. Immediately say yes, of course, and give him a kiss, hug, everything like that. He's like, look up there, look behind you. I look up, and where the little bench had been, you know, up before you go down the ramp, was a photographer who had been hiding in the bush. And it was the guy that parked right in front of us, which of course I didn't know that he followed us the whole way there. Nick said that as I was faced out taking a picture of the view, that the photographer was up there and was like giving Nick a big thumbs up, because it meant like he was there and he was ready to capture the moment. So anyway, that all worked out, and Nick said he was super stressed about the photographer because, again, you have to walk down this path and it had to line up perfectly with the timing and everything. Nick literally sent him a picture of like the Google Maps and drew where he needed to walk. But it ended up working out great. He was there right on time. He captured the actual moment. He was hiding. I had no idea that he was there. That was just something I really wanted. I don't think I ever really expressed that to him, but it really was, like, to actually be able to capture that and not have to set up a separate engagement shoot and just have someone there. Like, it was really exactly what I wanted. So I was super grateful that he did that. Photographer's snapping us from up there, and then he comes down, introduces himself, says congratulations. Of course, I'm just like, again, on cloud nine, like, feel like I'm floating in La La Land, but so happy. The both of us were just like so giddy. He is like, okay, we're gonna take some pictures, like you guys have me for the next like 45 minutes. So we just were everywhere taking a bunch of pictures, and he was helping us pose, he was doing all that stuff, and I was so glad that we both had our cute outfits on. So right after the photographer left, because we had him and he took a bunch of pictures, and I was like, okay, I just want to stay down here with Nick and have kind of a moment for us. So the photographer left, I took this picture of him, and it's just so cute because this was like right after. And that's when he told me about how involved my family had been. Like, he called my dad to ask for permission, which was really sweet that he did that. And my dad is just very involved in my life. So the fact that Nick, you know, took the time and put in the effort to do that was just really special. And of course, he involved my mom as well. The three of them were, you know, talking about things, helping make sure that all the logistics worked out and that I was where I needed to be when I needed to be there. And so he told me how involved my parents were and how they already knew everything, which was just really sweet. It made me feel really happy that they were so supportive of this occurring. And then he told me that the next day, my parents were gonna come down from our cabin, and my sister as well, and we were all gonna meet up in Portland and have a celebratory dinner, because our parents had actually never met each other before, just because my parents live in Maryland, his parents live in Maine. So they had never met. Nick said, you know, we're gonna celebrate, they're gonna meet each other for the first time. It's just gonna be like, you know, the joining of family. I was just so excited about that, because I thought I had said goodbye to my parents, you know, from when I left the cabin. And just knowing that they were gonna come down and celebrate with us was just really sweet. So I'm really happy that, you know, they coordinated that as well. We start walking back down the path to the car, because we now have to go to dinner and downtown and all of that. And, you know, as I said, we passed that golf course, which was gorgeous, but in the middle of the golf course is this like antique chapel. As we were walking back, I'm not even kidding, we heard the chapel start playing like church bells. It was the most insane thing. Like, they were not playing before. I don't even know if this church has services. Maybe it does like once a week or something, but the bells just started ringing, and it was just the most beautiful moment. I was just in awe that that was even happening, and me and Nick were like, this is meant to be. Like, this is so cute. I took this really cute picture of kind of the houses that you would see along the path. Like, these hydrangeas are just gorgeous. We drive back to the hotel because I'm like, I need a minute, I need to pop our champagne. So we drank our Vouv and we sat out in the same chairs, and we just like called everybody. I called my parents, I called my friends, he called people, and we just wanted to, you know, share the news before heading to dinner. Just took this picture of us sitting out there. We were just like both the happiest literally we've ever been. Yeah, the rest of the night, I mean, we just went down in Kennebunkport, we got drinks, we got a really nice dinner, we sat outside at the Boathouse restaurant. We were just, again, on cloud nine. It felt like we were the only two people in the whole world that night. Like, we were just like locked in on each other. I felt so special. We ate steak dinner at the Boathouse to celebrate, even though we could have had seafood, but we just wanted steak. We wanted a celebratory steak. We had dinner, we had drinks, we had the, you know, night on the town in Kennebunkport, which was really cute. It's a really nice area. When we got back to the hotel, we changed into some comfy clothes and we actually walked out down to the beach, even though it was like, you know, nighttime at this point, but it was just really special. We were just standing on the beach, like holding each other, listening to the ocean. It was just like really romantic, honestly. I know this is probably like the sappiest video ever, but at this point it just did not feel real whatsoever. It was just such a vibe staying in that room too, because it faced the ocean and we slept with the windows open, so you could just hear the waves crashing all night, and it was really special. Next morning, they have complimentary breakfast for everyone who stays there, so we just had our breakfast and had our coffee and walked down to the beach area with our coffee. This is Nick actually down on the beach the next morning, and we were both just like, what even happened yesterday? We were both exhausted just from all the emotion of the day. Just soaking that up, and then we left, you know, at checkout time, headed back to Portland, and then that night was when our families met for the first time, and we had the celebratory dinner. We spent like 2.5 to 3 hours, I think, at this restaurant. It was just amazing for them to meet. Everyone was so like happy and excited and supportive. I'm just really happy with how everything worked out. So yeah, that is the story of our engagement. Again, couldn't be a better location for the both of us. It was perfect being down on the coast in a state that the both of us just love so much and, you know, are so fond of, and just being able to have the memory of that location. Thinking like, we can go back to this hotel to celebrate. We can maybe bring our kids there, our future kids, and, you know, share with them the whole story. Like, there's just so much in store that I'm so excited for. And again, I'm just so grateful for all the consideration that was put into this and amazing relationship that me and Nick have built. I'm so excited to plan a wedding and get married and do all the things. Like, it is just a really exciting time of our lives. Now, just a little bit of detail on the ring. So this is my ring and I am obsessed with it. I literally, for the first 3 days, I just was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have a ring on my finger. Like, it's just such a weird thing, especially because I wanted one for so long, and now that it's there, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was pretty clear with Nick like what kind of ring I wanted. I did leave some things up for him to choose. Like, I was like, okay, I'm really okay with either this kind of thing or this kind of thing or this, like, you know, I didn't say exactly what I wanted, but he definitely had a really good idea, which is great because I mean, I have to wear this every day, so I would like to like it, you know, and if you're gonna spend a lot of money on something, it should be something that you both like, right? I just got a gold simple band and a solitaire setting for this diamond. It is moissanite, which is a lab created diamond, which is what I wanted. And I just feel like this style really complements my finger well. Like, he did such an amazing job. So I'm really happy about that. I know I've been going on and on about this now, but I just wanted to get the full story out there. It'll be so great for us to be able to watch this back, and I don't know, it was just such a special day that I really wanted to share all the details that went into it. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Stay tuned for some wedding planning content and actual wedding content itself. Like, that's all going to be happening in the next year, and I'm going to try to showcase as much of it as I can. So stay tuned for that, as well as a lot of the regular stuff that I've been showing. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.